Hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Mark Magerman with Franchise Empire's weekly uh, resale newsletter podcast that we like to do. It's really more than just resales, but we talk about a lot of all things franchising. And typically, it's Tarek Johnson, who's our CEO, founder, uh, joining me here, and we get to go together today. It's solo, so hopefully, I can make it as educational as possible, and hopefully we talk about some pretty cool things. So as always, the chat is open. So if you're listening live and you have something you want to add or ask, please do so. If not, keep in mind this is easy to sign up for, so you can get part of this weekly podcast that we do. So you can become. There's a link below that will be showing on the screen that you can access to become members. These will be dropped in your email boxes on Sunday morning, so you don't actually have to wait for the live recording. So before we get started, I have my brother in arms, Rahman, behind the scenes helping. Rahman, we usually show the quick little disclosure statement up on the screen. Do you mind throwing that up there for us? There we go. Thank you. A little disclaimer. All right. And we can share the screen, Rahman, so we can start going over our presentation for the afternoon, if that's okay. So welcome. In this week's newsletter, we're going to share specific franchise opportunities that we think are interesting, an example of everyday folks building their empires. If you see across the bottom of the screen, www.franchiseempire.com/newsletter, and that's how you can access this by becoming a member. And like I said just a few minutes earlier, we'd send this out to you on Sunday mornings. If you don't have an opportunity to listen live, we hope to have you. You can keep going, Rahman. Thanks. So today, we always say in 5 minutes or less, but as you know, we talk a lot, so it's hard to do in 5 minutes. But we're going to talk about a resale that did $1.2 million in top line revenue last year. Very appealing. We're also going to tackle the question about Pet Supplies Plus. Is that a good investment? We're going to talk a little bit about it. As you know, each week we take one of the top franchise brands in the country and we kind of do a little deeper dive on it. And sometimes we find some pretty interesting nuggets that are helpful out there. We're going to talk about our colleague and our candidate, Jonathan, his journey from a passive real estate individual to a franchise ownership. And we're also going to then look at Baskin-Robbins, whether that's a good investment or not. Now, that may not be today because I believe we did that last week. So that may be a little bit not on the schedule for today, but we'll see. I think that may not have been edited out. So we'll keep going, Rahman, if you don't mind. That's a picture of our wonderful Franchise Empire team in action, which we can really skip by. So for those who, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. No, that's fine, Tarek. We can go ahead, Tarek. We can go ahead, Rahman, just to the featured resale. We'll go right there. So as you know, each week we scour our resale inventory. And again, just for edification and for knowledge, resales are very tricky because, again, most of the better franchise brands that we work with have a very strong franchisee network and a very robustly buying out each other when they sell. So sometimes it's really hard to get good resales, but every once in a while, good ones come through and we'd like to capture those for you. This one is based in Las Vegas, Nevada. So anybody out in that area who might be interested, this is a home service business. As you know, if you join us on a more regular basis, home services is really the sweet spot for franchising in this generation. And where, I would say 90 to 95% of the people who come to us and invest in franchises ultimately put their money in behind these. This is a home service business. The asking price is $195,000. And last year's gross sales were $1.2 million with a cash flow of $60,000. So really quickly, I'm going to give you some comments on this. Cash flow at $60,000 is a very nebulous number, right? We don't know if the owner is paying off debt service, if that $60,000 is inclusive of that or not, which is why you really got to dive deep into financials. But what this looks like is a business that's doing $1.2 million. So it's been around a little while. It may not be generating the income or the cash flow that the owner was maybe expecting. I don't know. That's just a guess, but it certainly looks like an opportunity to grow. Because these home service businesses, if it's multiple territory, usually can do a lot more revenue than $1.2 million. So, again, it's a category that we're very comfortable with. I will also say that it is a brand. We can't disclose the brand, but we can say that this is a brand that is a very popular brand in the country, has virtually zero opportunities for new territory purchases. In other words, most of the territories have already been taken by franchise owners, and maybe the only way to get into a brand such as this would be through purchasing a resale opportunity. So, again, if you click on the link below where it says www.franchiseempire.com/resales, we will be able to talk to you about it, introduce you to this and other resales that may or may not be in your area. Again, you can scroll down a little bit, Rahman, please. Right there, that's fine. So just a couple other bullet points about this. Like we said, it's a national brand, almost sold out in the country. Very simple model to follow, and I'll also say a very lean model to follow. Doesn't require a lot of heavy equipment or a lot of inventory. As is the case with every resale franchise business, experienced leadership of teams and of people is critically important. Industry knowledge, not so much, because the brand helps bridge those gaps, but they will not help you with whether or not you bring the acumen to the table to succeed as a business owner. So experienced leadership, managing a business prior would also be really, really beneficial. It's a very robust franchisee network for validation. So as you're doing your due diligence, you will have no shortages of other franchise owners to speak with. Again, leadership and management experience are real plus. We always recommend for resales. We always recommend it for non-resales if you're buying new territory, but specifically for resales. Again, the competition for resales is very, very strong. In many cases, people believe resales is some panacea to success. It may or may not be, but there's always a lot of people looking at every individual resale because there's just not that many of them. And as a franchise owner who had a very thriving franchise business, who ultimately sold it, so I had a franchise resale. We had dozens and dozens of people interested in our business. And if they didn't come to us with pre-approved funding, we didn't even speak to them. So please, please, please have funding approved, at least pre-approval. If you're interested in a specific brand, that will help you make credit. That will help you gain credibility with the seller, and hopefully put you at the top of the list. And if you don't have that, then you won't be surprised if you don't even get a phone call back. So very, very important. Thank you. And again, as you can see, we have a list of over hundreds of resales. Every week we get updated with our brands on what's available. Again, not as readily available as new territories in franchising. But again, if you do click the link on the bottom and you get an opportunity to speak to one of our colleagues here at Franchise Empire, we can kind of guide you in the right direction to say, is it resale feasible for you? And if so, we can set you up accordingly. You can keep going, Rahman. Thanks. So that's kind of it for the resale. Again, if you have any other questions, you can get on our calendar. Just put something out here if you want to use the chat. We always like to share our success stories. They're not really our success stories. They're our candidate success stories. In our business, our job is to find what the goals are of our candidates and kind of help them find the franchise that matches their goals and their criteria. But make no mistake about it, when people become franchise owners, it's because of their hard work, their commitment, their dedication. Yes, maybe we kind of guide them to keep them out of some potholes, but it's really on them. So this is a story. You can scroll down a little bit, Rahman, so I can read. There you go. Thank you. So one of our candidates, I believe this was our broker Laura Pfeiffer's candidate. Lucky guy to get to work with Laura. But Jonathan had built a very successful career as a real estate broker and investor over the last 15 years, capitalizing on the ups and downs of the market. His business was running smoothly and mostly passive, but he found himself wanting something more, something new he could grow in and become more directly involved in. He began looking into franchises, initially focusing on senior home health care based on his personal experiences. While the mission resonated with him, he wasn't fully sold on the options that he was seeing, and he knew he needed help vetting the right opportunity. That's when we found him, or he found us, or however that happened, but he was lucky to connect with Laura. So they looked at multiple franchise models across many, many different industries, narrowing in on what truly aligned with his goals, which was a business that could be scaled, very strong systems, and room to grow within a large territory. So that's what Laura and Jonathan discussed, which helped Laura help Jonathan. Jonathan took the process very seriously and asked the right questions. He stayed patient, thoughtful, and focused on finding the right fit, not just any business. That was from Laura. And today he's officially a franchise owner and stepping into his next chapter as a business owner. It is a very rewarding part of what we do. And if Laura or any of our other brokers were on this call, they would echo that. What we do is we help guide really serious prospective franchise owners to the right brand. We introduce them to the franchise development folks, and we hold their hand and guide them through the process, giving them guidance along the way. But as I just said earlier, it's a real tribute to these people when they finally get to a point where they've signed their franchise agreement, because it's really about life changing. And when we got involved with our franchise, again, people have listened to this before, you hear what people tell you about possibly changing your life for the better by becoming your own boss and running a franchise. For us, we drank the Kool-Aid and it really worked. One of the reasons I'm doing this now, we really get a thrill out of helping people start their path to business ownership through franchising. So congratulations, Jonathan, and awesome job, Laura, as always. Thanks, Rahman. You can keep going. So franchise of the week today, we're going to look at Pet Supplies Plus. Now, again, not part of our script, but I will say this. We do work with candidates who like the pet industry, and there's a lot of really cool opportunities in the pet service world that doesn't necessarily require building out a Pet Supplies Plus. However, Pet Supplies Plus has been around for quite a while, and it has a great following and great reputation. Please scroll down, Rahman. Thank you. Little bit about the story of Pet Supplies Plus. And again, usually when we share these, I learn something new each time, and hopefully it'll be something for you guys that you haven't heard before. So Pet Supplies Plus started in 1988 in Redford, Michigan, when founders Jack Berry and Harry Shallop brought a grocery store mindset into a very fragmented pet retail world. It's not fragmented anymore, but this is back in 88. Instead of massive warehouse-style pet stores, they built small, friendly neighborhood locations designed to feel local and accessible. Franchising began just 1 year later. By 1995, the brand had already grown to 100 locations. It's a very rapid growth, by the way. A rapid climb driven by community involvement, adoption events, pet washes, and self-service dog wash stations that turned routine errands into experiences. The brand's value did not go unnoticed. In 2021, Pet Supplies Plus was acquired for $700 million. Now that's an exit strategy. And in 2023, it was ranked #1 in the pet franchise category by Entrepreneur Magazine. Today, the brand continues to lean into private label products like Redford Naturals and a model built around repeat purchases, local loyalty, and a category that never goes out of style, pets. So let's see what it takes to own one of your own. And again, pets is a great category, folks, because if you are a pet owner, you know this. And if you're not, I'm sure you know somebody who is. People are just fanatical about pets. They'll just spend whatever money they need to for their furry friends to stay healthy and stay happy. So it makes up for a really great business model. As you can see, Rahman, if you scroll down a little bit more for me, thank you. These are just a quick snapshot of some of the numbers. The investment, and this is to build one unit, obviously, is between $540 and $1.97 million. Why the large range? Well, you might be starting from scratch and building up from the ground floor. You might be taking over an existing space that doesn't need as much renovation. But again, if you can get it in for $540,000, that'd be awesome. If you're thinking this might be for you, I think you're way better off looking at the $1.97 million number. So you could be pleasantly surprised if it comes in less. But building a brick and mortar anything nowadays is going to be very expensive. Keep that in mind. franchise fee. So for all the people who listen in, a franchise fee is the funds that you will pay to the franchisor the day you become a franchisee by signing your franchise agreement. 49,900, very standard fee in the industry. The grand opening advertising requirement, which is on the franchise owner, is $30,000. Again, relatively standard. The local marketing spend in your first 12 months, $3,350 per month. And I will say this, one of the things that we learned in our business ventures relatively early on was we started looking at marketing and advertising not as a cost, but as an investment in our business. Because again, when you're working with a great franchisor, they've figured out the advertising and marketing model, and they should be able to tell you in your due diligence, wink, wink, a question that you should be asking is what is their return on the dollar spent in marketing and advertising? And it should be a lot. Every dollar spent should be returning you much more than that, which makes it an investment. You also are contributing to the National Advertising Fund, $1,000 per month, which is your share of the national funds. Royalties, 2% of monthly gross sales in your first 12 months, 3% thereafter. That tends to be a very low number in the industry. Who makes the ideal franchise candidate for a business like this? Obviously, retail-minded operators, comfortable managing inventory-heavy businesses with very thinner margin and than service, with thinner margins than service concepts. Again, yes, retail businesses like this do come with a lower margin. You've got expenses there and costs there that you don't have in a non-brick and mortar concept. A community-focused owner enjoys local engagement through events, partnerships, and neighborhood branding. Critically important. Otherwise, you're just relying on people to come in. You're not helping push that marketing and that local awareness. A long-term builder, somebody that understands that performance improves meaningfully over time, not overnight. This is a long-haul play. And again, hands-on or a strong manager leader. Large format stores require disciplined staffing, training, and operational oversight. Hence, when we talked about resales, bringing experience to the table in terms of running a business or managing people, critically important with a franchise like this, because that's really where the franchise owner is going to be spending most of their time. Okay, Rockman, you can scroll here a little. I'm not going to dive deeply into these numbers. I'll just kind of share some of this. This is taken right out of the FDD, by the way, folks. Again, a reminder, that means franchise disclosure document, which is produced annually by these franchisors and governed by the Franchise Trade Commission. Again, as an overview, the FDD has 23 items. Item number 19 is where franchisors disclose their franchisees' financials performances. This is taken out of that document, and this is for all sales franchisees who are operating in 2024. So again, as you can see, for they've divided it here by how long they've been in business. So 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4 plus, and then the average at the end. So 37 stores had been opened for only 1 year, and you can see what their average annual gross sales was at $1.693 million. After 2 years, that grows on average to 2.08 and continues to grow every year, as you see, up to past almost 2.9 million, rounded up to a $3 million store. So again, the track record is there. The average across all stores, 2.66 million. So that's a healthy number. Going back now several years, they'll have FDDs and they'll have information going back as you do your due diligence. But again, I like to point out things like labor expense and labor percentages. Those are percentages that are coming off the top for you folks. So again, keep in mind that for these brick and mortar businesses, very heavy labor model. You spend a lot of time hiring, firing, training, developing, and growing your team. And it is a very costly end of your business. In this case, 14.4% total. But as you see in the first year, those numbers are higher and they go down as you start growing your sales. Because again, as a percentage, the higher your sales, the lower that percentage will be. You know what? I think we can scroll down past this, Rahman. I think it gives you a good idea of it. But let's stop just for the benefits of the franchisee. You know, why would you get involved in one of these? I will also tell you that getting new Territories for national brands that have been around a long time are very, very difficult. So if you're interested in this category, then this may be an opportunity to buy out somebody who might be looking to sell their business. There might be a resale opportunity. But some of the reasons why these types of businesses thrive, it's a resilient category. You wouldn't think it's so, but if you own a pet, you got to take care of the pet so it remains consistent even during economic downturns. Strong sales to investment profile. The system-wide averages approach the 2-to-1 retail benchmark over time. Remember, we looked at about 1.5 up to $1.56 million maybe to build it, with almost $3 million in average sales. So it looks like a decent return, although it's going to take you a while to get there. Built-in repeat demand, food, supplies, consumables, and other services brings people back more than once, obviously. And again, a local brand with a national scale, neighborhood positioning backed by a system with over 700 locations. Again, this is sort of a model in which franchise owners who are looking to get into something like this are not looking to buy one. This is usually a multi-unit play in which you can ultimately take costs and spread them out over multiple stores. Can you get by with owning one? I'm sure you could. There probably aren't too many people in the system that are one unit owners. So again, see if this is available in your territory, or just check on availability in general. The link to get in touch with us here at Franchise Empire is www.franchiseempire.com/check territory. That will give you access to our information, and we'd love to get you on our calendar so we could actually walk you through the steps required to become a franchise owner all by yourself. So that's a little bit about Pet Supply Plus. And I think last week we talked about Baskin-Robbins. So just in conclusion, I'll say this. This is a really cool podcast that we talked about last week to determine whether Baskin-Robbins is a good investment in 2026. It's obviously one of the most recognizable franchise brands in the world, but how much does it actually cost to open one? Do the numbers make sense for owners today? In this video, this is our founder, Tarek, breaks down the Baskin-Robbins franchise startup costs, royalty, marketing fees, and real franchisee sales data so you can see how this brand performs, walk you through average unit volumes, top to bottom, soup to nuts. If you want to give a listen, each week we talk about these. It's very full of information, and again, hopefully it resonates enough with some of you folks that you want to click the link below and come with meet with us, and we can kind of walk you through your own personal success story through franchising. That's pretty much what we have for this week. So again, if you have questions and you want to put them on the chat, please do. If not, and you're listening to this later, please give us some feedback. We'd love to answer your question or talk to you a little further. And we will be back next week. Hopefully Tarek's back, and we can, it's probably a little bit more exciting for you guys listening to not have to listen to my drone voice the whole time when we get to go back and forth with Tarek. But Rahman, thanks for helping out today. Everybody who listens, thanks for giving us some time to talk about franchise opportunities. And again, if you're interested in how we can help you, you can either subscribe to this newsletter or click the link below, and we will put all our systems in play to guide you guys correctly. We're very lucky that you listened, and have a great rest of your week. Thanks very much. Bye.